Ladies and gentlemen, we're back with yet another fantastic episode of HR Talk. Allegedly, we're going to be going live today, but all technology has failed us. Ricky Baez forgot to pay the bill, but that's quite fine because he continues to pay the bill for the post-nominals at the end of his name.
That's right.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm JC up in the northeastern United States and going all the way down to sunny Central Florida. Please welcome Ricky Baez, the star of the show.
Sir, I do pay my bills, I'll have you know. Although I am waiting for my stimulus check. So I'm putting it off until I get my $1,200.
Hey, careful with that. I mean, the stimulus check thing, from what I was hearing about, when that drops, that's going to have a negative effect on your returns for next year.
Yeah, it is.
Right? So be careful with that. You don't want to, if you plan that your returns every year kind of help you out, you might want to just bank that. I don't know.
Look,
I don't know if it's so stimulating. You know what I mean?
Look, here's the thing. Any kind of refund, any kind of check I get from the government, I'm gonna plan on not getting it. That way I'm not disappointed in case it doesn't happen. I'm perfectly okay. I'm just not expecting it.
Kind of like birthday gifts.
This month, yeah. It's in a couple of weeks for me.
Well, Ricky, before we continue on, we do have a fantastic guest on the show today.
Yes, we
if you
do.
could please introduce the gentleman that's on the line as well.
We have a gentleman with us today who's been on the show before. He's known as Sweet Baby J, a name that I cringe every time I have to say it. So I'm just like, hey, how you doing, Jay? And then that's it. But yes, we have Sweet Baby J with us today. He is virtual because we're all practicing social distancing. He actually lives in my neighborhood. So he's over in his side of the house, of the neighborhood. So Jay, welcome aboard, brother.
Hey, what's going on, ladies and gents and ladies? I'm going to have to say it's an absolute pleasure being here. Very sexy on this Easter Sunday.
Oh.
And, you know, I got to say thank you, guys. I also got a question about this stimulus check, this stimulating check.
Yes.
No.
Go ahead.
Just call it stimulus. Don't say stimulating. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
When I found out I was getting it, I was a little stimulated, I got to admit.
Ew. Okay,
I got to admit. But so it's based off of your prior year's taxes, right?
Yes.
Well, I have not filed for my 2019 taxes yet. So would that possibly come out of my 2019 tax?
My understanding, and this changes every day because I keep reading up on this, my understanding is if you have not filed your 2019 taxes yet, you're going to get your check later on. I could be wrong, but when this whole stimulus check thing first came out, that's what they were saying. They were saying that they'll use your last year's taxes, but they're going to hold off if you haven't done 2019. I could be wrong.
No, I was actually told that it's based off of the last year's tax that you filed, which mine was 2018. So, but I just want to make sure, you know, not that you're my tax auditor or anything, but that I will get back my 2019 because I got solar panels and I get a nice tax credit for that. So,
I
Ricky,
have no idea.
Ricky, believe it or not, I heard it the same way that he's saying it right now, that it's based off the previous year's filing because current filings are extended all the way till July.
Correct.
I may stand corrected, though.
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest. I haven't done mine yet because I got to pay. So I got to get ready for that big impact. I'm just so glad they just moved it to July. Gives me a little bit more time because that's this Wednesday. Actually, you know what? This Wednesday is when JC was supposed to be in town so we can do the Space Coast SHRM conference.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, Space Coast SHRM conference down in Melbourne, Florida, that has been delayed. That's being pushed off until July 22nd at this point. So we are going to reconvene down there in July, get the party started again. Rick will be on the floor. I'll be emceeing that day. A host of speakers that we'll be talking about coming up. If you already have tickets for the SHRM Space Coast event, they will be honored, and they are continuing to sell more tickets as well. So here's hoping that everyone continues to stay safe and we get a chance to meet together and see each other coming up later in July.
That's right. So July 22nd, right? That was the date? I could be wrong. The 22nd, you're coming down. We're going to have it then. Hopefully, I was watching the news this morning, and they're saying now that most of the country is going to be open up again by May 1st. That's in a couple of weeks, actually. I don't know if that's true or not. Nobody really knows. But I did see some good news, JC. I did see that in your state, you guys are starting to flatten out that curve. Is that right?
Yeah, maybe.
You don't watch the news?
I'm tired. I'm
Yeah.
tired of current events and news.
Yeah, I know.
There's a lot going on. There's a lot that they've done. There's a lot of positive movements, but it doesn't detract from the fact that there are people that we know that have passed from this, and that it is still something that's currently spreading, and that it's continuing to consume our days. You know, it's kind of funny. I do have a interview I want to play for the both of you.
Okay.
It's a piece I did with a friend of the show, Jordan George. He's
Jordan.
been on the program, yes. Yeah, he's helped co-host in your absence a few times, Rick.
Yep.
Sweet Baby J, this guy's fantastic. And let
Yeah.
me tell you about him. He's this guy who created a social media post on LinkedIn. He's currently at like 50 to 60,000 views right now. And it's all about talking about this work environment from home, and how even though you're home, you're not, it's not work. It's different than work. Things are different right now. So I've got a great piece for him, for you guys. Do you mind if I play that right now?
Go right ahead. I'm good.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with Jordan George, SHRBP, LDCP, Leadership, People, Culture, Transformation, International Keynote Speaker, and former guest co-host of the HR Talk podcast. Please welcome Jordan George. Jordan, how are you today, sir?
Hey, JC, I'm doing great, buddy. How are you?
Doing pretty good. You know, it's been a wild few weeks, though. I mean, this lockdown, this COVID situation, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of change organizationally for a lot of us. It's been wild. How about by you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody is exempt to that right now. I think we're all dealing with it in different ways. I think you know, in my world, thankfully, a lot of what I can do can be done remotely, can be done from home. So I've been able to continue to work, but it's definitely a blessing and a curse right now. It's tough to be stuck inside all day, but I'll take it. You know, the alternative could definitely be worse. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, around LinkedIn and outside of LinkedIn, when we're talking about memes that people are starting to see on Facebook and on Twitter, you had a social media post, a blog post that went up that talked a little bit about that remote working, and it talked about how this really kind of is a normal. Do you mind if I read a quote here from that blog post?
Go for it.
So it says here, I want everyone who is working remotely or leading remote teams for the first time to be very clear on one thing. This is not working from home. This goes on for quite a ways. But that part right there, before we continue, that right there is already turning into an online meme. People are putting this into pictures. They're spreading that word right away. And I believe you told me your blog post has already got up to like near 40, 50,000 views and climbing already. Is that right?
We're getting there. Yeah, we're just close to 40,000 views right now. It's been shared over 300 times. Lots and lots of impressions. So, I mean, you know, I say that to say that clearly people are resonating with this idea that this is not a typical work from home experience. And whether you are used to working from home in a non-pandemic situation, or this is your first time ever having to work from home, one thing is certain, and that's that this is different. This is not the same. People are having to adapt at a rapid pace to keep up with these changes. And I'm not just talking about work changes. I'm talking about changes in their family life, having to deal with loved ones that may be getting sick or being laid off, having to deal with children being home from school, having to deal with parents and relatives that may need assistance, right? So these situations that this COVID pandemic has plunged the world into, these are not typical conditions to be working from home under.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing a lot of people conflating this idea that, well, this is, you know, just asking you to do your job from home. No, it's asking you to try to do your job at a place that you're not used to doing your job in the middle of a global pandemic. And that was a point that I really wanted to make clear for people in the post.
We're talking about strong words. We're talking about things that were rather blunt. I know I only read the first two lines here, but continuing on, you state this is being confined to your house during a global pandemic, with your kids who are trying to adjust to virtual school for likely the first time, being worried about the safety of your aging parents and grandparents and other family members that you can't see, while also working in close proximity to a spouse or partner all day long. Before we continue, those key points expounding upon where you left off. It's not every day that everyone had that opportunity or has that opportunity to work in a capacity where their spouse is maybe right next to them or just down the hallway. I mean, heck, we've seen the videos on TikTok and everywhere in between where the lady's working at her desk and the guy's in the background wearing a unicorn mask and dancing around and having a good time. You know, I mean, that's the lighthearted side of this all.
Yeah.
But it's a lot at the end of the day, working in the same close proximity as your spouse or partner.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah. So that person in the unicorn outfit is my fiance. She's the one that is going absolutely nuts right now. So, and that's kind of where part of this rose out of, you know, just to give some quick backstory. My fiance is in business development, so she's out all the time. I mean, she's used to being on the road all the time, doing sales, talking to people, you know, going to events. And this is, I mean, a radical change because obviously she's not doing any of that stuff right now. You know, my job, I'm in the HR training space. I can do a lot of what I do remotely, and I have before. Right. But for her, it was a really hard shift, and I didn't pick up on that for the first couple of weeks. I was feeling good, so I thought she was feeling good. And it was after about the third or fourth week of us just sitting across the table from each other, the dining room table, doing our work, that I could tell she was starting to get frustrated because she didn't understand, like, well, you're not on a phone call. Why can't you just talk to me right now? I'm like, well, because I got other work to do, right? So there was a point where we said, all right, it's time to put the office together. we've been in our house for a couple months. We hadn't touched the office. It's time to put the office together because we needed space, right? As much as we love each other, as much as we enjoy being around each other, when you're around anybody all day, every day, for multiple days on end or multiple weeks on end, it's going to get difficult. And again, that's another thing to contend with, especially for those who are not used to having a partner or spouse working from home full time with them also working from home full time.
The next line in this, you state dealing with a spouse or partner who's been suddenly furloughed or laid off and doesn't quite know how to deal with it. In that aspect, in that capacity, with your situation, is she currently in that position now where she's furloughed or laid off and struggling with that a little bit? There's no more continual day job work for her?
Yeah, thankfully that's not the case for us. Okay. She was able to be reassigned elsewhere within the organization, and so they've got her temporarily working on some other projects that are keeping her busy right now. So thankfully that's not been the case. But
however,
certainly
that point is so valid, and you're talking about so many people in that exact situation.
Well, that's the thing is I've got plenty of friends who are in that space. You know, I live in Florida, Orlando, tourism capital. Hospitality and tourism industry has hit a serious wall here right now with all this going on. I mean, Disney's closed, Universal's closed, SeaWorld's closed. You've got all these big attractions that are closed, and with that, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people who no longer have places to go to work anymore. I've got best friends that are out of work suddenly. I know people that, in the restaurant industry working 2 or 3 jobs where all 3 of their jobs have terminated them or laid them off because the business just isn't there anymore. So, and then you come home to that and you've got somebody else who maybe is still lucky enough to be working remotely, but then that person that's out of work is just sitting there trying to figure out what's next for me. What do I do? How am I going to support my family? How am I going to contribute? How do I not be a burden on my partner or my family members in the meantime? So that's a tough mental battle to fight out.
It continues on here. And you hit a point next in this post that really, really resonates with me, saying being alone, utterly alone, except for the few moments throughout the day where you get to connect with someone by a video call, and being bombarded with nonstop news and experiencing growing uncertainty about exactly how long this will last. The loneliness compared with that nonstop news cycle, that's a lot mentally. From your personal perspective or those of your employees or those that you've spoken with, do you see that resonating with a lot of people and their experiences.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that was actually some of the people that commented the most and most frequently and have reached out to me from that post and said, that sentence right there, being alone, utterly alone, except for a few minutes a day where you get to connect with someone by video call, that's what hit them. They felt that. We talk about how difficult it must be to be working from home with a spouse or with kids, and it certainly is. But the grass isn't always greener, because the alternative is you're here by yourself all day long. You're not going anywhere. You can't have any friends over. You can't have any family over. You can't go to see anybody. You can't do anything. And especially in larger cities that are on lockdown right now, it's dangerous to go outside sometimes into public spaces, right? So you're just alone through this process, except for those couple of moments where you've got these video calls or these video meetings that you're doing throughout the day, whether that's to try to get work by doing interviews or trying to do your work by meeting with others. And that's your only connection, is you get that little moment where you get to see somebody, quote unquote, face to face over the computer, right? But outside of that, the only people that you're hearing from and seeing on a regular basis is the news. And it's just this constant bombardment on radio, on podcasts, on TV, online, on social media of mostly a doom and gloom picture. We don't know when this is going to be over. It's getting worse and worse. It's spreading faster.
It's to the point where they actually have trackers, like numbers on the screen, almost like you're watching the stock market, and those numbers equal people's lives.
Yeah. It's very surreal. I know you and I were talking about this yesterday. It's just very surreal, the experience that we're having right now. And then in the middle of that, trying to cope with the mental pain, the social distance that we are feeling, the physical discomfort of being stuck somewhere, and then this ludicrous expectation that our work is not going to in some way be impacted. It's not in some way going to suffer. It's not in some way going to slow down. And then in the middle of that, you've got the guys out there saying, well, if you're not making something of yourself during this time, if you're not starting a new business, if you're not getting in the best shape of your life, if you're not doing this, right? It's like all this productivity porn out there that's trying to push people, right? Then we're putting extra pressure on ourselves saying, gosh, maybe I should be working out more right now. I do have some extra time. Oh gosh, I should be eating better because I can be cooking from home right now. And then we're putting all this additional pressure on ourselves without taking a second to pause and realize we are literally in the middle of a global crisis. And that can't be forgotten.
A lot of people carry that internal guilt from over the years of just things that they did want to change in their life. And when you hear words like that, it really resonates the wrong way with some people, because they're immediately already thinking about all the things that they could have done to better themselves over the years. And now I'm in this awkward situation, this crisis situation, in some instances above and beyond anything that they've ever experienced in their entire life. Mm-hmm. And they're still at that tipping point, that pinnacle of life where they're like, okay, maybe I will put down the Twinkies. It's a bit much.
Yeah. It's a tough time to do that. One of the big things going around social media has been these workout challenges. So, you post 10 push-ups and you tag 10 friends, and then they're supposed to do 10 push-ups, and on and on and on. And it's a great idea. I love the idea of trying to use social media to connect with people, to keep them healthy, to keep them focused, right? But then what if you're that person who's barely able to get yourself out of bed right now because of the anxiety and the depression that you're feeling? And then now you're seeing that and you're going, oh gosh, I can't even do that. I can't even do 10 push-ups right now. I don't have the energy right now, right? And so that's not to say that is a bad initiative or a bad effort, but it could be putting pressure on people. So this post was really just to say, look, be patient with yourself, be patient with your coworkers, be patient with your peers. Later on in the comments, I added additionally, be patient with your leaders, right? Be patient with your bosses. Because what I was getting a lot really early on was, well, yeah, this sounds great, but my boss is a micromanager. Hey, look, I'm not saying your boss isn't a micromanager. A lot of bosses are micromanagers in the best of times, but just keep in mind that right now, your bosses, your managers, your leaders, they're dealing with these same things. So it's not to excuse the behavior, but just extend the same courtesy of a little empathy and understanding, because a lot of these people that are now working from home full time for the first time also have bosses who are leading remote workers for the first time, and they have no idea how to do it. They are just as scared as their staff, except they're trying to keep a brave face. So it's not to excuse the behavior, it's just to say, give them a little empathy as well.
It's, up to this point for maybe organizations that have been going through minor changes, things that we've talked about in the past on other shows, employees may be in that mindset of trying to do the best with those simple things, the small widgets, the menial tasks, doing the best with what they can do and control. This entire situation opens up the mind. It opens up the perspective of any individual willing to open their mind to think about things from that bigger picture, from the organizational layout, from that empathy perspective of yourself and of that leader, of that manager, that supervisor. I appreciate your words here. I appreciate everything that you wrote and everything that you put out there. And I'd have to say that almost the entire internet does, though, too.
I appreciate it. I mean, it just means that it resonates with people, right? That what I've been able to put in words was just echoing what people were feeling but didn't know how to say. And that's what I'm hearing a lot from people. So I really appreciate that. I'm honored by that. I'm pleased that people are connecting to it. They're finding a little bit of peace in just hearing somebody else say the same things that they're feeling. I think the important thing is for leaders out there right now, and this is in the post and it came out of a personal experience. Please adjust how you're measuring performance right now. I had a very good friend whose boss basically very early on said, we're going to let you work from home, but your productivity better not drop. Your productivity better not go down at all. If it does, you're on the firing line. Wow. You're going to potentially lose your job if we see that dip in productivity. Right. Look, this is not normal working from home conditions. This is not a fair assessment to say you should just now be able to do your job at that building instead of this building. You're adding in so many additional variables that we're all struggling through right now. It is not reasonable to expect that there's not going to be some change in productivity, right? So you've got to get creative as a leader in reassessing how you're measuring performance and output. And it may not look exactly the same, but trust me, the majority of your people out there are not using this time to lay by the pool. The majority of your people that are working from home for the first time may be a little slower in doing their jobs than normal because they're figuring it out, but they're still trying. And they appreciate the flexibility and the option to be able to be home right now with their children who are out of school, with their spouses who are struggling to find work, and still to be able to bring in income into the household. They appreciate that. So please don't punish them for this like it's something that they chose. We're all going through this together. And at the end of it, when it's all said and done, if we have leaders looking back on this and saying, see, I told you remote working wouldn't work. I knew working from home was a bad idea. Look at the drop in productivity. That's simply not fair. Not in these circumstances.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jordan George. Jordan, what are some of the best ways people can reach out to you or read this blog post if they haven't already seen it online?
Yeah, you can go to my LinkedIn page, linkedin.com, and then Ask Jordan George is the URL. You can also find me on my website, askjordangeorge.com. That is the best way to get in touch with me. From there, you'll get my email and all the other ways to contact me. So feel free to send me a message. I'd love to chat with you.
Jordan, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, JC. It's always a pleasure.
And ladies and gentlemen, that was our time with Jordan right there. Rick, back to you.
Love the hat, by the way. You know what? I agree. It's just all he needs now is the whip and some kind of a old ancient crystal to find in a cave somewhere. That's what he needs.
Yeah. I like it.
Indiana.
What are you talking about, Jordan George?
No,
Now,
I'm
I thought
talking
that was
about
a
that
good
hat.
interview. He doesn't need a whip.
No, no,
or
no, no.
anything.
That was a really good interview. Actually, you know what? I agree with 99.9% of what he said.
Okay.
Everything he said is spot on. As far as people with the expectations and how difficult it is for employees who've never worked from home before. What is Sweet Baby J doing? What is? I'm not even gonna.
Ricky, you do understand this is still an audio podcast at the end of the day as well, right?
Yeah, I know, but it's being recorded and this is going to be on YouTube later. So, okay, got it.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, thanks, Jay. No, so a lot of people are having a really hard time. I can't. A lot of people are having a really hard time adjusting to their new norm and their kids being there and exactly how Jordan said, their spouse being there and still being expected to produce. There's one thing though that I'm like, I don't know about, and that is when people start saying that this is your time to start a business, this is your time to lose weight, this is your time to do this, this is your time.
You were saying that. You were saying that
Of
just a
course,
week
I was
ago.
saying that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
before I was even saying that, there was a lot of people on social media saying the same thing. But even more people saying,
Well,
"Stop
I thought
being
you were
an
the
a-hole."
first one.
I was not the first one,
Can I
but
chime in here, gentlemen?
yes.
Absolutely.
Now,
Yeah.
this is the thing. I'm going to agree this is the time, but it's always a time to start your business, to rejuvenate yourself to be better than you were the day prior. That day is every day. It's not that this is the time, it's that there are no excuses now.
Well, yes, I agree with that. But he's saying that it's no less easier, or it's a lot harder because now you do got the time, but now you have all these other external influences that you wasn't dealing with before. But here's my thing. The reason I agree with the sentiment that this is your time is because when all this is over, we're not going back to the same workforce we left. It is going to be a completely different playing field. And if people are working from home right now, dealing with all these things, expecting things to come back to normal the way they were pre-COVID-19, they're going to be in for a rude awakening because it's not.
Well, listen, this might be work savvy clothing, like no shirt, an ascot, and a blazer.
No, just for you, Jay. That's not going to happen here. It's not going to happen anywhere. I mean, that's fine if that's what you want to do. You're killing me with that, bro.
I mean, why not? I mean, there's going to be a new norm going on, right?
Yeah.
So things are just going to be different. So it's like, I think people should have more fun in the workplace, appreciate those that are around you.
Yeah.
Because listen, after this, we're going to have to realize that we could have lost a lot more people.
True.
Have you called anyone and said, hey, listen, I appreciate you? Or, have you taken that opportunity to tell someone that you don't like that they're an asshole?
Dude,
You might not get that opportunity
Are
again.
you kidding me, Jay? I mean, that's part of the reason the face of the franchise isn't on. Ricky won't call him.
No.
That's not true. He's busy. He's an essential associate. So he's out there. He's one of those heroes out there putting his life on the line to make sure everybody has what they need. So
God bless him.
yeah, but
Does he work for Publix?
no. I'm not going to say where he works, but he is an essential associate.
Yeah,
So-
because hey, listen, Publix is who knew that
I mean, okay, guys, I'm sorry. So for people listening on the podcast, you've got to get these visuals, please, on when we publish this, I'm going to go ahead and put the YouTube link. You got to see what JC and Sweet Baby J are doing. They're just having this dress up game. They keep changing left and right. It's actually pretty funny.
Okay,
Happy Easter.
Rick, well, to Sweet Baby Jay's point, the future of the workforce, if you're talking about working from home, if you're talking about having a little bit of fun in your new environment, who says that you can't be on a video conference and change clothes every 15 minutes to throw people off to get a little
That
bit
is
of a
true.
laugh?
Right? And this has come with different and they see why you encouraging him, JC. Why you encourage? So now he's going to change again. No,
It's all
but
good.
Jordan has a really good point. He's got a really good point with that. It's managers and leaders need to have more empathy. If empathy was not as your skill set, you better learn it.
But Rick, check this out. What the thing with his post? You're talking 50 to 60,000 views and climbing. You're talking people actually making memes that are going onto Facebook, Twitter, and the like, that are talking about, that are using his exact words from that post. He's inspiring an entire crop of people that may
Yes.
not have been inspired previously.
Yeah, and that's why once I saw that, I'm like, he is spot on. Jordan hit the nail on the head, and I'm glad he put that out there because a lot of people needed to hear that, especially the leaders who that leader, that one leader that he was talking about at the end, the one who sends people to work from home and say your productivity better not drop. That's a very a-hole thing to say. It really is, because you got folks. Well, no, exactly what he said. You got all these folks out there who have all these external influences and everything, and it's you really. What is Jay? Okay, I don't know what Jay is doing, but he's throwing me completely off. Jay, I'm sorry. What are you doing? What are you doing? So now you got a hoodie. Now you got
Cold.
glasses. It's cold. You're in Florida. You literally live half a mile from me. No, you're not cold. Stop it. No,
The
but
new norm here,
well,
this is
you know
just
what? Actually, Jay, I follow you on Facebook, and you are at home with your kids, and you crack me up with your videos because you're putting up videos about you being the lunch lady, being the PE teacher, and being just a teacher, and you're actually recording what you're doing to your kids, having them work out, doing all these
Yeah.
different things. All right, so talk to me more about that routine, that everyday routine.
well. so so listen. I am the principal, the PE coach, and the school lunch lady. But none of this goes down without the who's over the principal? Who's that?
The superintendent.
The superintendent.
Mm-hmm.
And the superintendent seems like she has something to say about. Oh, okay. So she's monitoring what I say.
Hey, for the record, you should be monitored. So I'm with her. You should be censored.
Exactly. So listen, I got to admit, I'm an essential worker, but for what I do is very specific, and we are actually asked to shelter in place.
Yeah.
Because we're such a small unit, but it is definitely different. My wife has worked from home, so her working from home is not something that much out of the norm. But with the kids here, OMG, these kids eat too damn much. And I'm eating too much as well. Listen, when I'm at work, I eat breakfast and then I don't eat again, usually until I get home.
Yeah.
I'm eating 3 and 4 times a day. It's the kids eat endlessly. They require so much attention. So working from home is that much of a challenge. It is the time to start, your own business or your own, ideas on what you want to do, but there's those other challenges that come with it. These kids are not a game. They require so much attention. And to find out that the damn school year might be canceled, this is crazy. The whole school year.
They already stepped forward in New York State, and they said straight out that they're done with the Regents exam. So some of the final exams, they're totally shot. It's over. And down in New York City, Mayor de Blasio was talking about, just calling it an end to the entire school year. And that's where the governor chimed back in and said, you can't make that call. I make that call.
I read that.
So now they're in a big argument about what's going to happen at the end of the year or towards the end of everything right now. When we're talking about preparedness, caring, caution, empathy, taking care of people, that's fantastic. I love that. Some of these press conferences, they're going just about an hour too long. They're turning into political rhetoric. They're now we're starting to see a capitalization of traumatic circumstances on all angles and all sides. I'm not taking anyone's particular side. I'm saying everyone is becoming subject to this right now.
Yeah.
And it's getting old. I mean, we're already home. We're already burnt out. And now we're not even watching the news. Now we're not even trying to think about those next steps because our new norm to us is that new reality that we're moving forward with regardless. You are that teacher. You are that worker. You are that spouse. You are everything to everybody in your own home 24/7 now.
So let me jump on something that Jay just said. So as far as the kids being at home, because my 6-year-old is here with me. Actually, I share an office with him during the week. It sounds weird me saying that, but it's what Jay said is 100% spot on. They require so much attention, and every 2 or 3 minutes he's asking me this question: hey daddy, look at this. Hey daddy, look at that. So you have to practice some patience, because you don't want to lose your patience with your child. Obviously you want to be there for them, because this is, I don't know if it's as stressful for them as it is for us. I'm assuming it is, because this is a change in their routine. They're normally out there with their friends, with their teachers. Jay looks like he just came out of a spa. I don't know what's going on here, but I'm telling you guys, you've got to see these visuals. But Jay, what do you do during the week when your kids are just demanding so much of your attention when you're trying to work? What skills or what tips do you have for everybody out there?
Well, listen, I have a great superintendent who really monitors them, and it's endless. It is endless, the amount of attention, and not just that, but the new systems that they've put into place for the school system. Let me move the candle out of the way.
Thank you.
You see, I have kids around me all the time now. And so I actually have to really monitor what I say and do, because, the kids are always around.
and there she is. Look how cute she is. Hi. Hello. All right, hold on. Jay, Sweet Baby Jay has his coworkers here. They're cute. All right, is she changing too? Is she putting on a hat? No, she's not. Okay, all right.
No, she's dressing up as Moana, and that's what you have to deal with. Can you imagine if I was actually on a meeting or something like this, and these kids were, it's never ending.
But here's the thing. As a manager, right, you should be able to understand that everybody's going through these same things. And when you're having this meeting, having these serious conversations, then your employees' kids pop up. Don't scold them, right? It's they're there. So it's a part of life. That's what's happening right now. And that's what Jordan was saying in the clip earlier. We have to practice some empathy for our associates. And we have to practice that empathy, because, yes, you're going through a tough time. So are the associates, so are the kids as well.
Well, it's really we have a soccer player now, or NFL looks like a lineman.
Well, okay. I don't know. He's wearing that jersey right now. There's an old saying: if he wears that jersey, the person's gonna get cut next year. So be careful there, Jason.
This guy died, Rick.
Oh, he did? See, there you go.
This guy died, Rick.
That's what happens when you wear the jersey. You got to be careful with that.
He passed away a while ago. Kent Hall, legendary lineman for the Buffalo Bills. Fantastic player. One of the best, greatest, biggest player. Very.
So he
great.
was cut.
Very good.
Got it. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's definitely. And one thing I was actually discussing with my wife is that they don't really use the word employees anymore. The word associates is now commonplace. So one, I always want to know why is that, and also but I do enjoy it. I do enjoy that they use the word associates. It's more friendlier. But I think people are now, more jokey with it because of the fact that all these changes have taken place. So yeah. I cannot see how a boss or a manager would scold or say anything about, what's going in someone's home that's their new work environment.
Well, you know what? This time, 3 months ago, that would have been a huge issue, right?
Yeah.
How dare you be so unprofessional to have your kids in the background and have everything messed up while we're having this really important meeting? But everything changed. You know what? I saw a funny meme on social media yesterday, and it's a picture of a guy on a couch drinking a beer, eating chips, watching TV. And it says 2019, a lazy slob. And the same picture, 2020, responsible citizen. Because they're at home, not going anywhere, doing their thing. Again, so yeah, it's a funny, stupid meme, but it really, really
does. Look at this. There was a college professor that was, doing her class, and she's now an online professor, and her husband apparently walks out of the bathroom in his underwear.
I saw that.
Yeah, and it's like, is that inappropriate? He is actually going about his daily life. She's working, he's not, You know, does she have to put like a on air sign? You know, it's crazy.
But here's the thing, right? At some point, yes, it's a mistake. At some point, you have to draw the line, right? Because what if you're broadcasting to 50 students, and let's say they're used to walking around naked, and then they walk around naked. Next thing you know, you expose yourself to a bunch of students, and God help you if any of them are under the age of 18. So now what?
Oh,
See, so now you would have you could only be understanding so much, and
yeah, that
as
is true.
associates, we gotta make sure. Again, I'm talking about associates here. We gotta make sure to be aware of our surroundings. Last week, Jay, we had an attorney, our Mark Kluger, great guy. And one of the things we talked about is some of the issues that are happening right now with working from home and teleconferencing. And there's this one lady, Jennifer, who was in a video conference. I'm sure you've seen this. And she forgot the video camera was on, and she went to the bathroom
Yeah, I heard
live.
about that.
Hashtag poor Jennifer. Go ahead and look that up. That's happening a lot. So yes, you have to be aware of your surroundings. Number one. Number two, as the leader, you have to be empathetic. And if you see something like that happening as a leader, don't record it. Don't take pictures. Don't laugh and make fun of the associate. Don't scold. Just end the meeting right away and then have a conversation, a coaching conversation about what just happened.
Well, then not only that, so now we're thinking about, you know, we're having these meetings online, and if someone does not have good service, good Wi-Fi
Yeah.
service, you know, if it's choppy. I've been doing interviews all over the world, and I'm thinking the whole time, you know, it's been choppy, and I'm thinking it's these other people's Wi-Fi.
Wow. Jay was just stopped in his track. What the heck was that?
Looky here. Looky
What's
here.
wrong, guys?
You know, good. Hey, good afternoon. But you know, it's like, do you get on somebody because they have Wi-Fi service that's not the greatest, and you can't even upgrade now? I would like to upgrade my service, but I can't because who's gonna come out here?
Actually, here's the thing. That's deemed an essential service. I know a very good friend of mine who's the HR director for a really huge telecommunication company here in Central Florida, and they're hiring like crazy because right now everybody is at home doing one thing, using up the internet and watching TV. So they are in business big time, big time. So yeah, it's who's hiring, who's going to come out. They still are going to come out, but you're 100% spot on. It's it really is a different world, especially when we're doing a podcast that's being recorded, and two of my co-hosts are changing clothes, having a game back and forth every 5 minutes. It's ridiculous. Now you look like you're in Miami Vice, Jay.
Well, listen. So, what is the appropriate attire to wear when on a meeting? And like, if you look at these news broadcasters, they've all been asking as if it's a funny question: do you have on pants? If it was a, you know, let's say 1 year ago, would it be okay to ask a male or female, do you have on pants? You would be Harvey Weinstein so quick.
Yes, you're right. But remember what I said 5 minutes ago. What we're doing today is radically different than what we were doing 6 weeks ago, right? So yes, you would ask that, but that's one tip that I have for everybody right now, Jay. What I'm telling people right now is if you're working from home, don't let the idea of you working from home dictate how you dress and get ready for work. Still get dressed. I mean, I'm not saying put on a suit, right? But put on something you would go outside in. You'll be okay in being seen outside with. Because obviously we're not going to maintain the same type of clothes standards as in the office. You're at home. But you can't just show up in pajamas neither for a conference. You have to look somewhat presentable. So yeah, wear a
speak for
shirt, wear
yourself.
pants.
I just put a tuxedo on for this. Come on.
Yeah, but that's because you want to do that. That's fine. You do it. But if you just got just regular clothes on, you're good. But don't be too comfortable wearing pajamas or no pants, because then the poor Jennifer thing would happen to you. You'll forget and you get too comfortable. And you'll forget, and next thing you know, you'll be like Jay right now, wearing nothing on but a big tie. What the hell, Jay? What is that? What is that? No, don't point down. We're good.
Don't go too long.
No, we're good. We're good. We're all right. We're all right. We're all right. This is an HR podcast /show. So
Well, if I mean, I'm dressed. I have on a tie.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you do. Got you. Yeah. So aren't you outside? Can your neighbors see you?
That's the cost of being my neighbor.
Got it. It's so they had nothing they haven't seen before. Okay, roger that.
And
All right.
look, and listen, I have mowed my lawn in my boxers.
Yeah, no,
and-
that's awesome. Okay then. But hey, Jay, quick question for you. So we talked about how you are doing working from home, how I'm doing working from, how JC is. How are your kids taking this?
Good question. I think they might start requesting to be homeschooled.
I mean, you are doing a good job, dude.
Yeah, they're enjoying it. I mean, it's definitely challenging and definitely hard work. One of the podcasts that I've done on my show, Talking Sweet, 669-241-1422, they I interviewed this young lady that has her business as she does homeschooling consultations. And you know, for her, this is something that she's been doing for a while. So this is just a smooth transition.
Okay.
These kids, they're enjoying it. You know, when it comes to their PE, I actually thought PE was going outside. Now I learned, no, that's recess. There's a difference.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for us, I mean, it works out. For PE, we go riding around the neighborhood on our bikes. I have them do push-ups, squats, sit-ups, leg raises, and crunches. Anytime I see them put their hands next to their face, they have to put that same regimen. And each time they go up by one. So it may start off as 21. They might look like Serena and Venus, Williams by the end of this. You never know. Hey, where's JC at?
He's probably changing into something else. See, oh my God.
What's wrong?
Happy Easter.
I don't know if you knew, but I'm also a reverend in the Universal Life Church. I marry people from time to time.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Why do you look like a priest, and why do I look like a?
Yes, this looks like a virtual confession. So you're coming in to confess your lifestyle there, Jay, and JC's gonna help you out with it. That's hilarious. So Jay, so here's the thing, right? In Florida, there are talks of canceling the rest of the school year. Now they're saying the school system is going to reopen again in May 1st, which is in a couple of weeks. It makes no sense because it's just open for what, a couple of more weeks. So I get it. For the graduating seniors, they deserve to walk across that stage. But overall, for everybody else, I don't know if that's going to make sense or not. I'm still on the fence on that. But here's my question to you.
What's it? Go ahead.
Well, my thing is that this right here, what's just happening right now with this COVID-19 thing, it forced a lot of organizations that historically has been really resistant for a mobilized workforce and working from home workforce, because their theory was that it wasn't efficient and people are not going to do their jobs. So now Mother Nature kind of forced their hand to put that theory into application. Now I'm willing to bet that this is going to show that there's more productivity than what they thought. Therefore, when things come back to normal, there's going to be a shift in rationale on whether employees should have a brick and mortar place to go to. So what do you think about that? Do you think that we're still going to continue this past COVID-19, working from home?
I think there's going to be an upshift in meeting places where people meet once a week.
Okay.
But I do believe that I also think it would be smarter. So my wife, she's working from home now, and it was told that they should foresee working from home for the foreseeable future.
Okay.
I said, why don't they just cancel their contract with the business office?
There you go.
Cancel the contract, save that money, and then you guys work remotely and you meet remotely. And if there's ever a face-to-face meeting, there's Panera or wherever.
Boom.
Or you guys just meet someplace, you rent someplace for that one day out of the month, and you meet there.
Oh, wait. You mean like pay by the hour?
Pay.
No, by the day.
By the day.
By the day, not the hour.
Well, no.
Yeah.
Imagine that, though. Imagine you get an amazing 5-star conference room with everything that you need. and you just need it for 3 hours.
They have that actually.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of
So
places.
here's
like
the
that.
rise of that business model.
Yep, that's right.
It is.
You're right.
It is. But,
Yeah.
but the thing about that is, you also have to think on the person that is renting out that space. Yes, you may be able to lock in several different meetings in a day. I personally, I don't know. Would I rent by the hour or by the day? I personally, I think I'd rent for the day.
So here's the thing, that renting that for the day is going to be a fraction of what you would spending for an entire month for everything. You're right. So I would rent by the day. That way I can get there before my team, get things ready, and then take advantage of this peace and quiet from home. When if I rent by the day. But that business model, I anticipate is going to skyrocket. It is good. What in the world? All right. I just need to not look at JC. We're good. It's good. JC, you're giving this guy ideas, bro. What are you doing?
What do you mean?
Nothing. You're good. You're good. But yeah, JC, you're right. It's you are going to see an increase in that business model, but I'm just wondering what those other organizations that are still going to get stuck in the 1920s as far as no telecommuting is concerned, and they're still stuck in that theory. So up in New York, they're shutting down for the whole year, or you got the governor and the mayor kind of arguing about that, right? You kind of touched on that earlier. Okay. So you had somebody graduating. How's she taking it?
Not well.
Not well? Okay. Yeah, I figured that. So down here, a lot of the seniors are setting up virtual proms, and they're setting up Facebook groups and doing all these things. So I'm wondering if your oldest is doing that as well, or if her fellow students are putting things together to kind of mitigate what's happening with their prom and graduation.
Not yet.
No, not yet. Yeah, that mask fits you, bro. That's perfect. It almost looks like you don't have a mask on. That's pretty cool. The hair matches and everything. Now let's see what Jay comes with when he comes back. All right. All right. So what we were talking about earlier, JC, I don't know. There's way too many J's going around. Is what the future is going to look like. Now, obviously, there are some businesses that you can't do from home, like a firefighter, like a gas station attendant, or a nurse. I can't with y'all too. Jay, you need to stop that, man. You need to stop that because it looks like you've been practicing for years. Is the superintendent watching you right now?
Sort of.
Okay. She's probably like, you're not hanging out with Ricky ever again.
But is it okay if a man now decides to do a meeting in a dress? Couldn't show up into the workplace like that, but now?
Actually, a man can show up into the workplace like that.
Really?
They can. Yeah, because remember, a policy that talks what the proper attire is or is not. It's what a woman should wear and what a man should wear. It doesn't talk about if a man can or cannot wear a dress. So as long as it doesn't violate the policy, you're golden. So, and now JC looks like that guy from AC/DC. What's his name? Angus Young. That's great. But yeah, so there is that facade right now. Well, I'm not gonna call it a facade, but yeah, a man can wear a dress if that's what he wants to wear during a meeting. It really doesn't matter. You just can't have a lot of things exposed, like Baby J is doing right now, exposing himself to the world here in HR Talk, the world's premier HR podcast. Thank you. What kind of shirt is that now? It looks like you bought it at Mexico and Epcot. What shirt is that?
Man, this is my
Ricky, stop it. That's culturally appropriate right there. What he's wearing, it's fantastic.
You know what? No. If you go to Epcot, you go to Mexico, you see those kind of shirts.
It's
I'm
not Mexico.
stating a fact. Yeah, but
This is Africa.
Africa. Come on.
That looks really colorful.
But I see what you're saying. I see when you look at the colors. I see where you're going with that.
That's right.
I don't.
Listen, I'm actually from Costa Rica, and this is something that you could definitely, see in anywhere in Costa Rica. What bar are you going to? You look like you're security at the bar.
Oh, now he looks. So I thought I was the security with my jacket.
No,
No, he looks
at a club. You're security at a club.
No. He's the guy that I kick out the bar because he's hitting on all these underage girls. That's what it is. 45-year-old. Look at him. No, yeah. He's got that hat on. No, so okay. So going forward, guys, we do see this.
Which by the way, before we do move forward, big kudos to you for, making fun of his culturally appropriate African-rooted attire. Real great shot there, bud.
HR. Let's call HR.
Oh, now after you've been taking your clothes off for the first part of the show, all of a sudden we're gonna throw the book, right? Yeah, whatever. Honest mistake. It is what it is. He has to say that to check the box. You'll be all right.
Hey, listen. Speaking of that, like a female or male, they can say as many inappropriate jokes as they want, right? But the second someone gets insulted, no matter what was said prior, now all of a sudden it's an HR issue. Like, yo, you just talked about gagging, and now, it's like.
Head down that rabbit hole, Jay. Head down that rabbit hole real quick. You're bringing up something that's actually quite poignant.
Yeah, it's definitely that's
so
why.
Do this. Answer me this then. In the virtual environment, let's say you're having a casual conversation with a coworker over one of the face chat type things, whatever you're using, and it goes from being a casual conversation with light banter into jokes, and then jokes that could potentially be deemed like over that line, just like what you're talking right now, just like what you might experience in the workplace, like when someone's trying to clock in on their time card and you're making jokes about their behind or something, right? Like you get to the other side of this whole thing. You're now in the virtual space. And I think that's a story you told me before. I'm only kidding around though. But look, long story short, what do you do? What do you do in the virtual world?
I say, listen, if you're joking like that, don't do it on something that can be documented. Do not type it. Do not email it. Like if you're talking and it's not something recorded, sure, because then it's a he said, she said scenario.
But this is your good friend and maybe a coworker, and she's a little bit more extroverted, and she likes to joke with you, and she's joking with you about how great you look, right?
I have to say she's correct.
Okay. Or hear me out. Hear me out. This is groundbreaking here. Don't joke about that. You shouldn't be doing that at work anyway. So just don't.
The voice of reason.
I mean, you're making it sound like it has to happen. So here are tips to be careful. Just tip number one, just don't do it, right? It's just don't be having those conversations. Whatever's not appropriate at work should not be appropriate at work from home, although it is more likely for it to happen at work from home, because there's a big difference in telling somebody a joke that's extremely inappropriate and making a mistake, turning the camera on by mistake, and you expose yourself by mistake. Now, there are going to be some ramifications from that, but there's a big difference between intent and an accident. And that accident is more prone to happen when you're working from home, when you get too comfortable and you forget that you're actually working. We cannot hear you, Jay. I know you put on some new headsets, but we cannot hear you at all, sir. All right. So
you guys hear these kids screaming in the background?
Yeah, I know, but it's okay.
This is new norm. I mean, what kind of parents would I be? Because mind you, now I'm actually on their time. I'm in the house. They're not at my workplace. If they were at my workplace, they would carry themselves a certain way, playing, be respectful to all the adults.
Yeah.
But now I'm in their area. I cannot really tell them, shut up, sit down, stop playing.
Yeah. That's right.
The kids are the boss right now.
That is true. They are. Boy, you have a lot of superintendents in your household.
That is the overlord.
Yeah. That's right. But you know what, though? You're right. I asked you earlier how your kids are faring out, because I know my little guy is having a hard time with it, right? So just this past week, he was asking me about going back to school. When's he going to go back to school? When's he going to see his best friend? When's he going to see his teacher? When's he going to do all these things? So I felt bad because he was really missing them, right? He's just seen us and my dog for the past 2-3 weeks.
Have you guys
super duper hard to tell him never again?
Yeah, no, no, I'm not doing that. What I did, I just set up a Zoom play date with all of his friends, and we did that on Tuesday night, and he freaked out. I did not know how much he misses them, so he freaked out. He started yelling, running all over the studio, knocking things over, and I'm like, oh, that's expensive, puppy. That's expensive. I don't know how long I'm gonna stay working. Chill.
All right, listen to this now.
Mhm.
Because at the same time, yes, these kids, they're missing their friends and everything. And you can set up these Zoom meetings. But now we also have to discuss another thing. There are people out here hacking into Zoom meetings.
Yes, yes,
People
I saw that.
hacking into Zoom meetings. And then another thing, in which I saw in one of my daughter's classes, some of these kids are pretty inappropriate. So, you have to monitor the Zoom meetings. Just because you see your kids there and they're with other kids their age, that does not mean
That's a good point.
that everything is
So you're already bleeding into
Yeah.
current events. With that being said,
Yeah.
Ricky, should I play the sound effect and move right into our current events
Yes,
section
sir.
here?
Yes, sir. Let's do that.
All right, please stand by.
It's time for current events.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Current events this week brought to you in part by Sweet Baby J. Stop by the internet, Google that name, find his podcast, and stay in touch. We'll get his contact data coming up in just a little bit. This first story is coming to us directly from USA Today underneath the text section. It's titled, and this is written by Jefferson Graham, by the way. It's titled, "Use Zoom? These 5 safety tips can keep Zoom bombing hackers away." Ultimately, at the end of the day, a lot of people are hacking into Zoom. They're Zoom bombing. They're typing different numbers and just cracking directly in unless you don't have one of those meeting IDs. So at the end of the day, be wary of links. Zoom meetings start by creating a meeting and copying that URL that's generated by Zoom. And then you're instructed to send it out to your participants. Do not click through any link from a Zoom invite, as that it could be a potential phishing scheme, is what some people are advising. So feel free to start the software and then type in the numbers from there. Alternatively, if the link is coming from someone that you know, this is my own personal extrapolation, just give it a click and don't make your life tougher. Number 2 on the list is adjust the screen sharing options immediately. So instead of letting anyone share your screen and engage in Zoom bombing, that's when uninvited attendees break into and disrupt that meeting. The host has the option of adjusting these settings. Now they're hidden, so take note. On the general Zoom setting app window, there is an option for screen sharing. Click it and select advanced settings. There is where you can instruct Zoom to only let the host share the screen. And now the major privacy concern has been resolved. Number 3, use waiting rooms. Okay, if you're not already familiar with this, and pardon my casual presentation of this article at the same time as I'm extrapolating here a bit, but the utilization of waiting rooms, it puts your guests into a holding pattern to where you can allow them to enter or disallow them.
Yep.
So utilization of the waiting room is great. Create a webinar instead of a meeting. Big differential. Like today, this is just a regular meeting. That's why you see a bland face on the screen right now. But in the past, Ricky has done this as a webinar. And from there, you're presenting your desktop, your view. Others get to see in, and then that presenter has the opportunity to also add in people from those different views. It is available on a paid plan that starts at $14.99 monthly. And then the number 5 tip, remember that everything is being recorded. Just in general. It doesn't matter if you're talking to your boss, big brother, your friends, your neighbors, someone hacking in. Just assume everything is being recorded.
Yeah.
So if you don't want them to see your abs, don't bring them out. That's our first story. Back over to the 2 of you.
The waiting room option is awesome. I've used it before because I do consults, and this is perfect for like a healthcare provider, a doctor who has 2 or 3 appointments at the same time, and you invite everybody at specific times, and if you're not done, it puts somebody into that holding pattern, and whoever's in that holding room don't know the other person is there, so you can let people in and out at your will. So it's a really good tip. So yeah,
Sweet Baby J, what do you think about the 5 safety tips for keeping Zoom bombing hackers away, written by Jefferson Graham, USA Today?
all pretty good ones. There is something, question that I actually have real quick, because as I was doing my Beyonce wardrobe change, were you seeing me?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Ricky
Hey.
recorded all of that.
and I did not know that. I actually thought because I saw the
Oh, wow.
screen here was black. I thought that you guys couldn't see me.
No, we saw you. That's why I kind of paused. I'm like, what the hell is he doing? We saw everything. So this is gonna go live. It's okay. You'll be good.
No, well, see, but that's the thing though, because Zoom may be something that people are just not used to and not know how to finesse it. So therefore, you see your screen, it's not showing you, but yet you're being seen. So, I mean, imagine that. And then, listen, the time that we're at work, but now people are also at home.
Yep.
So they may be doing things that are different. I'll be right back. 1 second.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Hey, with that being said, I'm
This-
going to move
this is part
directly
of it.
into our next current event topic right here. Good to go, Rick?
I'm down. Go ahead. I love it.
This next article is from Reuters. Stop by Reuters.com and search for China reclassifies dogs as pets and not livestock in a post-virus regulatory push out of Shanghai. China has drawn up new guidelines to reclassify dogs as pets rather than livestock. The Agricultural Ministry stated this as part of a response to the coronavirus outbreak that the Humane Society called a potential game changer in the animal welfare world. So, though dog meat remains a delicacy in many regions, the Ministry of Agriculture said in a notice published on Wednesday that dogs would no longer be considered as livestock. It uses that designation for animals that could be bred to provide food, milk, fur, fiber, and medicine, or to serve the needs of sports or the military. As far as dogs are concerned, along with the progress of human civilization and the public concern for love of animal protection, dogs have been specialized to become companion animals and internationally are not considered to be livestock, and they will not be regulated as livestock in China anymore. The coronavirus is widely believed to have originated in horseshoe bats and could have been passed on to humans by intermediary species on sale in the markets of the city of Wuhan, where the pathogen was first identified, according to Reuters.com. China subsequently banned the breeding, trading, and consumption of wildlife and revoked all existing licenses. It also has promised to revise legislation to make this ban permanent. Now, there's much, much more in this article. Stop by Reuters.com for the complete read. Once again, that is China reclassifies dogs as pets, not livestock, in the post-virus regulatory push. Over to you.
Look, us three are lucky enough to be born in a part of the world where hearing something like that, it is unheard of, right? To hear pets and dogs being considered as meat, just how them being born in that side of the world, when they hear that we consider their food as pets, is just as appalling. So it's that's tough for people to hear, I guess, and I'm kind of glad that they are, I guess, moving towards domesticating them and not consider them as livestock. But I wonder, what else do they consider food other than dogs? I mean, obviously bats and cats.
But this is the thing. These dogs are raised to be food, like the same way we do with chicken or cows. Like, so
Correct,
I mean,
yeah.
there's a animal that they eat in Costa Rica. I don't know it's called tippy squinty, whatever. The thing looks like, I don't know, a possum. They say it's good meat. I refuse to eat it. I'm sorry. Certain things that it's strange. Like certain things, I'm just not gonna entertain.
Well,
So yeah,
that's because you're born in this side of the world. If you would have been born on that side of the world, that would have been the norm because you grew up with that in that environment.
yeah.
So I guess depends where you're born, right? But I
Exactly.
guarantee, now I'm not gonna would because I'm not wishing this. I guarantee that if this current situation gets a lot worse and now we have to find our own food, you're gonna have a different take on that.
I'm gonna skew every dog I see.
What was that Mad Max that the first or the second one he started eating Alpo dog food? But you know what? Again, your current environment dictates what your palate is going to be. So so I'm glad to hear China is working on that. But it's I'm sure that's tough to hear for a lot of animal lovers here in the United States.
Question:
Yes.
Do you think that with everyone working or a lot of people working from home now, and just all the stresses that come with it, with the kids and all the distractions, do you feel that a few things? One, that there are more people drinking on the job now,
Yeah.
and also,
Yes.
do you feel that there are more? Because the thing is that we cannot deny. We go to work. For some people, going to work is a vacation.
Here we go. Yeah. Here we
It,
go. I
it,
know where you're
it,
going.
it gets them away from their spouse, away from their family. And then it's good because it's like, you get 8 hours here, 8 hours there, 8 hours of sleep. It's a
Mhm.
balanced life. But now you're with your partner all the time.
Yep.
And sometimes things not might be that great. Domestic dispute. You might be on a conference call like, I told you about this.
Good- good. So yes, so I didn't want to bring it up, but you are 100% spot on. Now, there are couples who get along regardless, that's fine, but for that couple that are just barely hanging on to whatever it is that they have, right? And then going to work, going to work was their vacation. Yeah, right now that's going to be difficult for them. So now alcohol abuse it's going to go up, not just for the couples, just for people who just can't handle this and that were just barely hanging on before. Drug abuse and unfortunately domestic violence.
Makes you wonder how mediation and separation may go at the end of all this as well.
Yeah. I guys, I've already started seeing the attorney commercials about divorce and domestic. They started already. Some commercial, because everyday life you see the same lawyer commercials. Now you start seeing new ones that specialize in divorce and all these things. And
you know what you don't
One
see
that look
though?
like you, Ricky. You know that, right? The guy is sitting there, and then two more versions of himself come and sit behind him. Hey, Ricky, a lawyer?
Appliance Direct. Appliance Direct. You know what's funny though is that at the end of the day, none of it matters.
Okay.
Yeah.
So much for that. None of it matters at the end of the day. This is all a big game.
So moving on to our next article right there. This is coming directly from Forbes.com, written by Richard Eisenberg. He's a contributor. Is working from home the future of work? Dated April 10th. Stop by Forbes to check this one out. One effect of the coronavirus pandemic has been a huge increase in the number of Americans working from home. And the question is, how many of them will be able to do it when the COVID-19 crisis fades? The Brookings Institute's Catherine Guad and Isabel Sawhill just wrote that. Yeah. I had a hard time with her name. Just wrote that their take on remote working COVID-19, calling the pandemic, among other things, a massive experiment in telecommuting. So ultimately, at the end of the day, the article goes real deep. It takes a deep dive on the future of work from home. In March, a survey of HR execs by the Gartner research firm, 76% said the top employee complaint during the pandemic has been concerns from managers about the productivity or engagement of their teams when remote. Schulte calls the concerns part of the FaceTime culture of the workplace, as opposed to a FaceTime culture, where you need to show your face in person and where unplanned hallway moments can lead to work assignments. So this article goes really, really in depth. The future of working from home. It analyzes that performance management angle, much of which Jordan spoke about earlier today. And then two of you, I think that you've already dissected this one pretty well, but let me toss it over to you.
It's going to change it. I'm a firm believer that this is a test run that nobody wanted to do, and Mother Nature forced us to do it. And it's going to be hard for these business owners to deny the facts that it is going to be more efficient. Yes, you're going to have your 10% of people who do abuse it and they drink while they're on the job, they do things they're not supposed to. But you're going to find out that the other 95% of the associates are doing more than what they need to do because they're working from home and they don't want to be seen as maybe slacking off if they're not producing the way they normally would in the office. So I think it is going to change it.
Well, also, I think the dynamics are changing. People are going to be appreciated a lot more. People are going to show their appreciation for people a lot more. Now, when we think of the service industry, waiters, waitresses, bartenders, the tipping, they're going to get tipped very well now.
Yeah, they are.
I think if there's something that you can do as a side job, go into that industry once this all blows over.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is going to be tipped very well just as a thank you.
That's right.
So, and I think that's something, listen, now I'm hearing how much healthcare workers are on the front line, but this is nothing different. Healthcare workers are always on the front line when it comes to illness. So we just really need to appreciate everyone. We need to appreciate the person that works in tech support, because you know what? Without them, we're figuring it out on our own.
Yep.
We need to really, as a nation, say thank you to the person to the left, to the right, to the front, and to the back of us. We need to say thank you to other countries for being supportive. We need to support, we're all human.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we really need to support each other and be humane towards one another. Don't blame one person, or say it's your fault. No, I think you're more productive when you say, how can we figure this out?
There you go.
As one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey, Rick, you seem like you really did like the sight of this.
So here's the thing. I know in the state of Florida, we're supposed to shelter in place, but we can go out for essentials, and we have to check up on people who need some help. So I think I'm going to be that essential worker and check up on Sweet Baby Jay, because he's got some things he needs some help with. So he has this weird looking, can you explain it? Because that looks really interesting. It's like a dragon that holds Hennessy.
No, it's brandy. This is XO.
Okay.
It's called Napoleon Brandy XO.
Wow, that's awesome.
Now,
so
that's pretty exclusive, Rick. That's really hard to come by. What he has in his hands there on the video.
Yeah.
So you know what it is? I've never seen that before. At Costco?
Costco.
Hold on.
Listen, Rick,
how do you pour
Rick,
it?
There's two things at Costco you cannot get right now.
Uh-huh.
That's in his hand, and toilet paper.
And toilet paper. Got it.
Well, so now mind you, this
wow.
came in a huge case.
Okay.
So this is just a bottle. It came in a huge case, and I did not know how to open it. Where this is how you open it. When I opened this,
and ladies and gentlemen, it's a very large glass dragon that is filled with brandy. It's extremely colorful. It's got to be at least 6 inches long.
No, it's more than that. This is like, mind you, this is a what size is it? 750 bottle of Hennessy.
Does it have a red ball in its mouth?
Wow.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yeah, it's into S&M. So,
Costco, ladies and gentlemen, come on down.
There you go. And listen, when I first opened it, the thing squirted into my eyes. So.
All right, next topic. This is going down the dark rabbit hole.
It really did.
Okay, no. Next topic.
It's time for Florida Man Stories.
That's right. Your Florida Man Story of the Week. This is coming directly from CBS Philly, Channel 3, Philadelphia.cbslocal.com. Headline reads, Coronavirus, New Jersey. Florida man allegedly scammed New Jersey pizzerias, wished COVID-19 on Italians, according to all police. This is by CBS 3 staff out of Philadelphia. Now, in South Brunswick, New Jersey, a man has been charged with a cruel prank and taking advantage of people's generosity in New Jersey during the coronavirus pandemic. South Brunswick police say Sudeep placed a large order at pizzerias, multiple pizzerias in the area, and claimed that he would pay for them to be delivered to local police. Instead, investigators say he did not pay for the pizzas, and the restaurants in 3 counties lost thousands of dollars. In a follow-up call, police said Sundeep told pizza shop workers he wished Italians would be infected with the coronavirus. The suspect is believed to be in Florida at this time. New Jersey police are working with authorities there to find Sudeep Katani, accused of placing thousands of dollars of orders of pizza with the intent to infect and kill Italian police. Over to you.
Straight up a-hole. And not only the intent is just horrific, but you got small business owners who were hardly making it without this happening, and now they think somebody's doing the right thing to help local law enforcement, and they do this shit. So I really hope to find the guy, man, because it's.
The kids found him. They know his name, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know if they found them or not. If they arrested him, good, take him in there. But man, it's so. I guess what would tip off the pizza owner guy, right? To be like, you want to order 50 pizzas? No, you're gonna pay for this up front, right? But with everything happening, they're trying to be generous and they take it to the police station. So yeah, it's a whole story. Hopefully they catch the guy. I guess they caught the guy, but you got to be careful. You know, especially now. There's a lot of scams going out there right now, taking advantage of what's going on. Because a lot of people are reporting that they're getting calls from they think it's the IRS saying, hey, we want to make sure that your bank information is up to date so you can get the stimulus check, and people just fork the information over. Next thing you know, they got the bank information and they can just completely robbed blind. So be careful out there, folks.
That's an old one. Like some of these things are, common sense. Anytime someone calls me with that, I either I hang up and I call the bank directly. But what I love to do, because for some reason I get a lot of calls from India, how my AT&T package can be redone. I don't even have AT&T, so I actually, oddly enough, always put on a porno in the background. I always have one ready.
Sweet baby J, ready for anything.
Hey, and I always tell them, I'm like, hold on, you caught me at a very bad time. Something's about to happen, and I might need help. Are you able to help me? And they start cursing, which really lets me know that they are not legit.
They are not legit. They are not legit. You know what? With everything happening today, you figure that a lot of organizations just are not working or just working from home. You know what? Surprisingly enough, I still get calls, people who really care about the extended warranty of my car. And I just appreciate how many people call me every day to let me know that my extended warranty has expired and they can help me with that. So,
yeah.
So you still get those calls?
I'm really appreciative of someone giving me a call that my vehicle that has 160,000 miles and is a 2009, the warranty soon expire. And my response is, I think the car's about to fall apart. So
no, I stay on the phone with them as long as possible. If I get the call on my way to the office, I'll take the call. Look, I need entertainment. There's only so many podcasts I can listen to. So I stay on the phone with them. I'm like, oh my God, you're right. My Hyundai Sonata, yes. And I start asking really crazy questions. I mean, do I have a tire air pressure insurance too? I would like to buy that. Yes, please, let me buy that. The blinker, my left blinker isn't working. Can I buy that insurance as well? And I start reading obviously fake numbers, credit card numbers, and then I stop halfway. I make them believe they're getting a sale. I know how to run a call center, and I know how they run. If you keep them on the phone long enough and they don't get a sale, they get in trouble. So next thing you know, they put you on the do not call list.
Are you allowed to record these conversations and play them back for, let's say, your podcast?
So here's the thing. As long as you let them know the conversation is being recorded, and if they're aware and they still talk, that is implied permission. Boom. I'm going to record it and I'll play it. So next time, I'm going to go ahead and record it. I have to download an app for that, and then I'm going to play it on the podcast.
I'm going to record everyone because I go so hard on these guys, man.
So here's the thing, right? Even if you was not allowed and you still do it, what are they going to do? Sue you for trying to scam you? Right? So yeah, record it. Who cares?
Yeah, and on top of that, come forth and say who you are.
I know, right? So yeah, that's I can't believe that guy did that. He got caught. He's an a-hole. People, don't be a-holes. Boom.
Try your best.
Yeah. No, just don't.
Yeah.
I mean, some people have to try really hard. To other people, it's really easy.
Yeah.
All right. JC?
So outside of the standard current events in the Florida man story, there was something that we brought up a couple weeks ago. According to the New York Post on April 2nd, they did report, Hannah Frischberg reported, that Joe Exotic was transferred from coronavirus isolation ultimately to the Prism Medical Center. Joe Exotic, 57 years old, was transferred from isolation straight to the Prism Medical Center. It looks like that's now located in Fort Worth. He's been moved to Fort Worth. Exotic's fourth husband, 24-year-old bartender Dylan Passage, told Andy Cohen that Joe Exotic had previously been isolated at the Grady County Jail in Chickasha, Oklahoma, over coronavirus concerns. The facility is an hour's drive from the former zoo.
You say
The
fourth
facility
husband?
put him on COVID-19 isolation, but he's no longer at that facility. And as of a couple weeks ago, he was being treated. Now, moving forward to current date, there's a lot in the news as to whether or not they're going to reopen a cold case on Carol Baskin as to whether or not Joe Exotic may be pardoned. Cardi B attempted to establish a GoFundMe for Joe Exotic, and that GoFundMe was declined and denied, and then her fundraising page was subsequently shut down, and she apologized, stated that she was only joking.
Coronavirus.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in the world there of Mr. Joe Exotic, and just wanted to give you that update because you have requested that.
What a world do we live in where something like that has so much attention? People like Cardi B, people like the whole crazy
President
cast.
Trump.
Yeah, everybody, right? It's bizarre world. It really is bizarre world. And Jay, I don't know if you've seen The Tiger King, but if you haven't,
Everyone says that. I'm on the 3rd episode, and personally, I think it's up to what I've seen, it's pretty lame. I think people are really bored in their house right now where this is something so extreme, or maybe I haven't gotten to the good stuff yet.
So
there's some good
not
stuff.
trying to give away too much, but there is a new article that came out over the past day, and it does state that after Joe Exotic was arrested, 4 locals who don't know each other did make claim and file a report that there could be dead bodies buried on the property.
I've heard that.
So it was claimed by one employee that a coworker once shot 2 protesters who attempted to climb the zoo's fence, and he claimed Joe allegedly instructed the employee to place the bodies inside of a large tire and burn them.
I mean, somebody
Again-
breaks into your property. Can you? Well, that's Oklahoma. I don't know what the laws
Again,
are over there.
it's hearsay. It's not
Yeah.
proven, and this is currently what's taking place at the stations in the state of Oklahoma.
If you just go on the Facebook group Joe Exotic, you'll see how many people follow this whole
And Jay,
story. It's crazy.
Sweet baby Jay, you did not get to the good stuff yet.
Yeah, you
I
haven't. bro.
guarantee it.
Not.
You
I
haven't,
guarantee it.
man. You haven't. It's just a train wreck, and it's awesome. But yes, I am
It's not
contributing
awesome.
to the whole
it's
thing.
sad. It's hard. There's a lot. It's a
It's
lot.
awesome. No, it's awesome.
It's a
I like
lot.
it. It's really entertaining.
I don't know.
It really
It's a
is.
lot.
It
But
is.
did you say his 4th husband?
Yes.
You definitely have not gotten to the good part.
See,
Just
when I
wait.
last saw, I thought this where I'm to. It's his second.
People hasn't watched it. People hasn't watched it. So yeah, there's a lot more. It's a lot more. You'll
Wow.
see. Now, real quick, I do have and I can't believe
That's
I'm
a
saying
lot
this.
to swallow.
Okay, next one. Here we go. I do have a Florida man story. I
Oh,
know
wait,
it's
wait, wait.
rare.
Do you really?
I do actually. A Florida woman story. So look, guys, today is Easter, right? So as of the date of this recording, it is Easter. There's a lot of people who are going to church services. A lot of families are getting ready to do Easter egg hunt. And I saw this story the other day that I thought it was messed up, but it was really entertaining. Go ahead, JC. So that was it? Okay, got it. All right, so this one comes from WBLT Channel 8 in Knoxville, Tennessee, believe it or not. So a woman in Florida was arrested for allegedly putting explicit content in mailboxes. So she was taking pornographic pictures, putting them in Easter egg boxes, of eggs, and putting it in people's mailboxes. This story is, let me see who wrote the story. Can't find the author of the story. Anyway, so yeah, so she was caught. She was putting Easter eggs with pornographic messages in mailboxes. And when she finally was caught, after 1,000 of them, and police asked her, why are you doing this? It's because she is tired of the gay agenda taking over schools, and she wanted to show kids what a heterosexual sex interaction looks like. And she was arrested, and it's on federal charges, believe it or not, because apparently it's a federal offense if you put things in mailboxes if you're not a mail carrier. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Didn't know that.
Yes.
But let me ask you this though. So with this and with her intention, does this also now become like a sex crime? Is she now
Yes.
she has to become a registered
She
offender?
does. She does because
What an idiot.
well, obviously, right? But it's this kind of tells you there's some crazy people out there right now, and I don't know if people I know people know there are crazy people out there, but I don't think people know the range of craziness that is out there. And there's people like that out there, and that claim to be religious, and they claim to do all these righteous things. But could you imagine if a little kid grabbed one of those and they give it to mom and dad? Hey, what's this? That'll piss me off, right? So
Big
next
time.
thing, yeah. So now I'm gonna be breaking into jail trying to get this lady and just give her some kind of justice. But yeah, she decided this past week to go ahead and send that out to put it on in people's mailboxes. And when she was being interviewed, I saw the clip. She was as happy as a clam, thinking she's doing the right thing by the word of the Lord. I know that's not a representation of any religions out there. That's just a crazy old lady. But holy crap, what a what a way to bring in Easter weekend, right?
Yeah, you ain't lying. That's about the right sound right there.
Yeah, it is. It is. So, yeah, and it's weird. JC, when you get your Florida man stories, do they come from other cities and other states? Because this I grabbed this from the Tennessee news outlet. JC,
You see? Is he changing?
I don't know what he's doing. No. Oh, he's having a hard time finding his little sound effects.
Okay.
That's what it is. So
And we're at that time. We're at that
thank you.
time for some final thoughts going around the room. So first up, Ricky Baez with your final thoughts.
Look, I think Jay covered it well earlier. It's I don't know if anything else I can say that would capture it how he did, and it would be just good
Good to go then. Thank you so much. So
no,
Sweet
I'm
Baby
not
Jay,
done.
Oh, I thought you said he covered it already.
I know, but you know what?
I was taking you literally.
You a-hole.
Sorry, it's your final thoughts. We already agreed. Never interrupt final thoughts. Go ahead.
Well, Jay said it. He said it. So he said, "Be a human
All right,
being."
then. Jay, over to you. Wait, I'm sorry, Rick. Go ahead.
Be a
I
human
thought
being.
you were done. I thought you were done.
Be a human being. Go to Jay. Go to Jay.
Well,
And Sweet Baby Jay, over to you for final thoughts, please.
I'm gonna do a lateral back to you. What was your point that I made that you want to reiterate on?
Jesus Christ. About being a human being, about being understanding, taking care of the person to the left, taking care of the person to the right. These are crazy times right now when you don't know what person this is going to drive them over the edge. So let's not give them any extra anguish. Let's be that human being to lend that helping hand. Tip your workers who are really out there risking their lives. Yes, they are getting a paycheck, but and on top of them getting that paycheck, now they should get some kind of hazardous pay. But everybody out there, make sure that you take care of each other, because that is the only way that we're going to get out of this together.
But just to be clear, you said human being, not bean, like soybean or green bean.
Yeah, no, human
Only
beings. Human beings. Yes, sir.
Because then if there's human beings that you're eating, then there's going to be another disease that started in Orlando.
That is true. It's the RB19. That's what it's called.
Hey, you know something? It's really crazy how things have changed. And, for those of us that believe that our spouses don't do anything at work, well, we get to see now that they do a lot, because we're seeing it. They're working in front of us. There are spouses that may believe that their spouse may
You
have.
sound surprised.
Yeah, there's spouses that may think that their spouse has a boo thing at work. Well, guess what? Now you see them working, and it's not. They probably don't even like the person. So, a lot of things are coming to the table, and we just all got to deal with it the best we can.
That's right.
We're all in survival mode.
That's right.
I'll jump in with my final thought here, and that is, Ricky, I want to thank you very much for carrying the show today. Sweet Baby Jay, really appreciate the time that we had going back and forth with the different outfit changes, helping Ricky understand that it's okay for us to work from home however we desire and wear whatever we desire as well. That's completely fine. It was fun, informative, and for the standard podcast listener, I want to apologize in advance for a lot of the things that you may have heard Ricky say out of context, but there was video that went along with that. So please feel free to check out that video.
Just what I said. Just me. That's right.
Well, no. Actually, it's kind of funny because in context, you'll be in the middle of a thought. You're like, yes. And in 2019, what they did was, oh my God, look at what that's so funny. And you're like, you were just talking about death and destruction, and now you're laughing. It's like in 2 sentences, you totally forgot it's an audio podcast with only a video supplement today, but it's not a video podcast.
Well, the link is going to be in the show notes, so you'll be able to see.
All good. It's all good. It's funny. It's good. So, again, my pleasure, Sweet Baby J. Good seeing you as well.
Hey, pleasure. And I also want to say thank you guys for allowing my wife to see that I'm not doing anything too inappropriate because this whole...
Too inappropriate. There's a different level of degree. Got it. Okay.
This whole interview, I've been in distress with a Mossberg to my back. So waiting for me to do something ridiculous. Thank you guys for keeping me in line.
Got you, brother.
And what are some of the best ways people could reach you and find your show, sir?
Oh, yes. But of course, you can reach me on any one of your major podcasting platforms. Just go to Talking Sweet. No G, because I'm the only G in the room. TalkinSweet 669-241-1422. You can always call in for an anonymous interview. Hit us up anytime.
Got it. Nice.
And Mr. Baez, over to you.
Now, we are at hrtalkpodcast.com. You can find us on Twitter at podcasthr, Facebook and Instagram, HR Talk Podcast. Email us, hrtalk@biesco.com, or you can call us 47501-8425. Let us know what you think.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you are out there on the roads, drive safe. Have a good night.